What is up, guys? Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. We're going to be hanging out for a little bit here, going over the week 8 start sits. You guys can fire up your questions in the chat. I will get to them. First, I'm just going to start with the news, the practice reports, the player news from today to kind of set the stage, and then we'll get into any questions you guys got, any games you want to look at. We can look at that stuff. But I'm just going to read the news first. Underdog NFL newscast has been pretty good. So Nico Collins and Christian Kirk both not practicing today. Nico's got the concussion. Kirk missed last game with a hamstring. He also had the bye week too, so I'm a little concerned here. I don't really know if I feel good about either of these guys playing. There's going to be a chance for Nico to play if he can clear the concussion protocols. Just the game was on Monday night. For me, I have Nico Collins in a couple leagues. I don't expect Nico to play this weekend, unfortunately. So if you have Nico Collins, you're probably going to want to look at some other options. And then I don't think Christian Kirk's going to play either. We shall see. But big practice reports tomorrow from these guys. And good evening to Harris, Jason, and Andrew, by the way. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. A.J. Brown not practicing with a hamstring. That might be precautionary. Again, Wednesday, you guys know how it is. Wednesday is probably the least important day to be practicing. It's more of a walkthrough, if you will. A.J. Brown not practicing today. I think he's going to be fine. If he misses tomorrow, we'll be concerned. Christian Watson plans to play in week 8 for Green Bay. I don't know if we're ever going to feel good starting him in our lineup week to week. They're going to rotate a lot of receivers, but Dontavian Wicks is injured. Maybe that could open up Christian Watson just being the number 3 receiver there. I think it's going to remain Dobbs, number 1, Matthew Golden, number 2, but there's a chance where Watson could get out there and make some noise, but we kind of know what his game is. It's a lot of boom, a lot of bust. Not a very good, consistent floor every game. So Watson, good to see him back. Plans to play week 8. Chris Olave does not practice today, but they're saying he's expected to play. So again, more of a precautionary day off for him. Michael Penix Jr.'s got the knee thing going on. I thought it was his foot. I could be wrong, but he's expected to play. Good news for Lamar Jackson, practicing limited today. He's on track to play. We need Lamar Jackson back. He's going to lift up Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, maybe Rashad Bateman even. We shall see. So hopefully Lamar is good to go. I still don't know how to read this Aaron Jones hamstring. To me, when I see a guy activated from an IR stint, they're going to activate his 21-day practice window. Usually you're going to see him practice limited for the first week. He'll not play that first game, and then he'll play the second game. I would be shocked if Aaron Jones plays tomorrow, but I could be wrong. The fact that he's limited in practicing in limited capacity is a good sign, though. I don't think I want to play him, though, in fantasy if I have him. I want to see what it looks like, see how he gets eased in before I play him, especially on a short week on the road in LA. Probably not looking at Aaron Jones on my fantasy team this week. Calvin Ridley not practicing with that hamstring. Whoops. Tyrod Taylor, limited in practice on Wednesday. They're kind of expecting to name him the starter, so we'll see about that. Breece Hall, limited. No Garrett Wilson today, so a bit of a concern here that he might miss one more game. Joe Alt for the Chargers listed as questionable. That's actually a good sign. They did list Hassan Haskins out, so we're going to like Kamani Vidal this week just a little bit as a low-end RB2. There's so many bye weeks this week where, a lot of these tweener, RB2 flexes, wide receiver 3 flexes, those guys are actually startable this week. No Ricky Pearsall yet. Not a good sign there, but Brock Purdy is limited. I think he's on track to play this week. Josh Downs is back from his concussion. And then we have a gangle of Bears offensive players here. Swift, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Roschon Johnson, all not practicing. So big practice reports tomorrow for the Bears coming. No Bryce Young. We're expecting Andy Dalton. No Josh Palmer, but Dalton Kincaid was back, so we'll watch the Bills tomorrow as well. No Marlon Humphrey after illness. He should be fine. But I think we're pretty much all caught up. So if you guys do have more questions, we can get into those now. But I'm excited. Week 8. No London games this week. No international games this week. So we're going to be on a normal schedule. We just have the 16 mega bye week. And good evening to Jerry. Full PPR, are we starting/streaming Evan Ingram, Schultz, Loveland, or one of the Steelers tight ends? I actually do feel pretty good about Evan Ingram this week, and I also feel pretty good about Dalton Schultz because I'm assuming Nico's going to be out as well as Christian Kirk. Dalton Schultz, man, he might be – he had 7 catches, 9 targets the other day. on Monday Night Football, he might be an interesting spot start this week. But Evan Ingram has been coming around and making plays. And I think if they were playing any other team but Dallas, I'd be like a little bit questionable here, but they're playing Dallas. And Dallas is just one of the worst teams against the pass. Against tight end, they're actually pretty okay. They've allowed about 13 points per game to the tight end position. But I think what you're trying to target here is just this Dallas defense in general. They're the worst defense in the league, allowing the most fantasy points per game. So I don't hate Denver. This game's in Denver. Evan Ingram, worth a look at. Let me just take a peek here. I did, if you guys are members of the fantasyfellowship.com, I did upload my rankings today. I'll probably look at tweaking those tomorrow and Friday. I just want to see where I came in with these tight ends here that we're talking about. I got Dalton Schultz, tight end 13. Evan Ingram must be just outside my top 15. I got Evan Ingram at 16, Dalton Schultz here at 13. So I'm leaning Schultz. We're going to watch Colston Loveland here. I do have him ranked 24th just because I'm not sure if our guy Cole Kmet's going to play. And then I do have the Steelers tight ends kind of low just because I don't really feel good about them. But we did just see the Packers light up with Trey McBride. But I'm going to lean Dalton Schultz as your best bet. Andrew with a fun question. How much do we expect Christian Watson to play? That is an interesting question. So I think for fantasy purposes, he's not going in our lineups this week. We kind of want to, and that's going to be my default advice for a lot of guys coming back from their first game, especially after a long absence from a serious knee injury. But there's a couple things working in Christian Watson's favor to return this week and maybe actually get some run. And it has to do with Dontavian Wicks. He had a calf injury, which led to more Malik Heath. Watson could step right in and he could be the number 3 wide receiver. The Packers, this was a low amount of snaps and routes for them in a game. Usually it's between 60, 65. So if that's the case, I'm thinking we're probably going to see 20 to 25 snaps from Christian Watson, something like 10 to 15 routes. He could operate as the Packers' number 3 wide receiver. Just whether he gets those targets or not, that's what we're going to find out. But expect him. Best case scenario for Christian Watson is he's number 3 in snaps and routes. Worst case, he's probably number 4 behind Malik Heath. Maybe if Dontavian Wicks plays, he's behind him. But for now, don't expect a lot of Christian Watson. They want to make sure he gets back healthy, and they can go really slow with his development because they got Dobbs, they got Golden, they got Kraft, they got all these other weapons. So hopefully we just want Watson to get through this game, run some routes, play a little bit on offense, get some snaps in, and get ready for more workload each week going forward. So wide receiver 3-4 on the Packers is what I'm expecting. Yeah, man, the bye weeks are not fun this week. Half PPR, 1 RB, 1 receiver, 1 flex. You got Woody Marks, Tez Johnson, Matthew Golden, Kyle Monangai, and Kayshon Boutte. So the one running back is going to be Woody Marks. I prefer Marks over Boutte or over Monangai for sure. I'll actually pull up those numbers here. We saw some nice stuff out of Woody Marks the other night. It didn't really lead to a lot of fantasy points. He did catch a touchdown, but he kind of quietly just hopped Nick Chubb here. After the bye week, 48 snaps to 19 snaps for Chubb, 23 routes to 10 routes here. He doubled up on carries, had 3 catches on 5 targets. Like, this is a 1A opportunity here for Woody Marks. So if you need a running back, that's who I'm going with. I do know that, Kyle Monangai looked good. He got more work this week. But that was a game where they were able to play from ahead the entirety of the game, and they didn't really have to pass the ball that much. They ran the ball like 31 times between their 2 running backs, which is just not something that I think will be likely against the Baltimore Ravens this week. So here you go. Monangai, 13 carries in this game. He gets a goal line touchdown. I do like that he's getting third down work and things like that, but basically he's a touchdown or bust guy with this format. So I'm going to lean with Woody Marks. The receiver, I don't love Kayshon Boutte. Boutte's tough. Boutte's one of those guys that's going to run a lot of snaps and a lot of routes. He just doesn't really get consistent targets, but when he does get a target, it's probably a touchdown target And it's just, it's hard for me to start a guy that's only going to get 1 or 2 targets in a game and you just don't know what it's going to be. I like that he's on the field, but he's hard to trust. So I'm more so looking at Tez and Golden, and I think those are your best. That's your wide receiver one and your flex. I think I'm going to rank these guys as Marks as the running back. If I'm going to rank the receivers, I'm probably going to go Tez Johnson over Golden this week. I got to check my rankings. Is that what I did? I might have Golden just an inch higher. Let me double check here. Whoops. I mean, I'm always pretty high on Matthew Golden, and I do think we're going to be getting one of those breakout, big 40, 50-yard touchdown plays from him some point soon. But I have Golden here at 34, Tez Johnson, wide receiver 36. These guys are both starting wide receiver threes for me this week. And Manungai, let's just pull it up here for you. I got Woody Marks at running back 27, just outside of a top 24 running back. And then Manungai just a little bit farther behind here at RB 31. It is the Ravens. I like that matchup for them, but I'm going to stick with the Marks, Tez, Golden. And Harris is asking JCM, Dowdle, Chase Brown, Stevenson, Vidal, pick 3. I think the one that excites me the most is probably Chase Brown here. Just the renewed life from Joe Flacco. I mean, I got him up at RB16 in a full PPR format, whether he's catching 3, 4, 5 passes in this one, getting double-digit carries, and it's the Jets. That's a pretty prime matchup. This game's in Cincinnati, too. I think Chase Brown's one of the locks for me in this game. I do think I'm nervous about JCM just going to Marcus Mariota. Sure, he has the opportunity to break one, but I don't feel as good about Jacory. He's down here at RB24 for me. And you can see I got Rico, Stevenson, Vidal all in a row here. So like this is kind of a vibes-based question. I'm not really sure who I want to pick here. I think Ramondre's got a tough matchup against Cleveland, but I really, really, really liked this box score from Ramondre Stevenson the other day. He kind of became a bell cow back last week. 18 carries, 2 targets, 2 receptions, just dominated the snaps and the routes in a game that they were able to control from the start. I do think they're going to be able to control this game against the Cleveland Browns, but the overall output with Stevenson's touches are probably not going to be as great as they were last week. Whereas Rico Dowdle, I think, is the best running back on the Panthers. They're playing Buffalo. Let's see how Buffalo is doing against the running backs right now. Buffalo's pretty bad. 700 yards. That's well over 100 yards per game to the running backs. They've allowed 8 rushing touchdowns on the year. This might be an opportunity for Rico Dowdle and the Panthers to just run the ball and try and stay in this game. So I'm feeling Chase, Rico for sure. And then it comes down to Vidal versus Stevenson. I think with Hassan Haskins being out, I do like Vidal's chances. It's against the Minnesota Vikings. They do have a good defense here. You can see they rank 11th against opponent running backs. But, I mean, if Vidal's getting 90, 80% of this workload, I do think he's got a good chance. He's a pass-catching back, too. I'm going to lean Vidal over Stevenson there. We'll put Stevenson and JCM on the bench. Start 2, Pollard, Golden, Franklin, Jennings. Tony Pollard's probably not the answer here. I think Tony Pollard's interesting this weekend, but it's against the Colts. They didn't really look all that good against the Colts earlier in the year. Let me actually pull Tony Pollard's numbers up from that game. If I remember correctly, he had a fumble in that game. So Tony P, all right, 16 for 45 and a touchdown, 2 for 14 as a receiver. He got there with a touchdown, but if he doesn't score a touchdown, we're not really in love with his numbers, and he just doesn't have the boom that I'm looking for. You can see his best game, 16.8, which is fine, but he just doesn't have the boom, whereas Golden, Franklin, and Jennings, I think those guys do have the potential boom. Franklin going up against the Cowboys excites me quite a bit, but I kind of think Juwan Jennings, if no Ricky Pearsall, like, I have Juwan Jennings ranked here at wide receiver 30, Matthew Golden here at wide receiver 34, and Troy Franklin at wide receiver 37. So my head says Golden Jennings, If you wanted to do Jennings and Franklin, though, I'm not going to talk you out of it because Franklin's been getting good volume. It's against the Cowboys. That might be the better play where I move Matthew Golden down a little bit. So my instincts are saying Jennings Franklin um, for you on that one. Spears or Hunt. This one's not close, Harris. Kareem Hunt, he was banged up. I don't know if he practiced today. Let me just do a peek here real quick. They don't have their stuff in yet. It's because they play Monday night, so they don't need to have reports in. But it's definitely not Kareem Hunt. You're basically banking on a touchdown there. Tajay Spears, at least, has been involved in the Titans. And it's a game where we expect the Colts to play from ahead. Maybe we see more Tajay Spears as the game wears down. Where did that team go? Here we go. Week 6, we did see Tajay Spears play more than Pollard. This week, Pollard, hopped him. But you're kind of looking at like a 7 to 10 point floor with Tajay Spears. I think I just take that in a full PPR. Rest of season, I'm taking Bashal Tootin. I think it's pretty easy for me. I think Tootin's a lot better player than Corum is. Tootin ranks really highly in a lot of advanced metrics that I like to look at as well. And he's a good pass catching back. He's a good do it all back. I think Corum's fine. But if Tootin were to get basically, what's the nut spot here? If Kieran's out, what does Blake Corum's ceiling look like versus if ETN's out, what does Tootin's outlook look like? I'm gonna lean Tootin here. I think he's a better player. Oh yeah, I mean Tez Johnson, he's one of the best waiver wire. Like in theory, we should have probably picked up Tez Johnson a week ago when he started making some big plays. He had that big touchdown, I think, and then he continued making plays. But I think Tez Johnson, this is what we're looking at here, guys. With Mike Evans playing just a little bit of the game, Egbuka is going to be the lead receiver here, snaps and routes, but Tez Johnson's going to step right in here and be that number 2 receiver. Sterling Shepard's going to operate as that number 3 slot receiver. And, they're not going to throw the ball 46 times a game like they did in week 7, but Tez Johnson's going to be out there for, 80% of the routes. He's going to be getting, I don't know, a healthy 15 to 20% of the targets. He's definitely a guy that I think is worth picking up. And especially this week too, like just the bye weeks, Tez Johnson is worth starting in your lineups this weekend against the Saints. So we're in on Tez. Oh no. What do my rankings say? So this is obviously a super flex question. I have Carson Wentz slightly ahead. Like, look at it. I got all 3 of these guys in a row here. So that makes you see how tough this question is. I'm going to lean Carson Wentz. He's been playing well enough. He's thrown to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Jalen Naylor even looks pretty good. And the Chargers defense, as many good players as it has, they just leave a lot to be desired sometimes from how they play. I think this game could be kind of fun and high scoring tomorrow night as well. So I think Wentz is the one guy that I'm like, yep, give me Wentz. And then with Purdy versus Stroud, I mean, I think both. I mean, Houston's defense is fantastic. And then you have the 49ers defense, which just limited the Atlanta Falcons offense to a pretty bad day. Bijan still got a touchdown, but they held Bijan in check most of that game. And they will make it difficult for opponent quarterbacks. So I don't know which quarterback is the one to go to. I think with Nico Collins, Christian Kirk probably being out, I think it's going to be how I have it ranked here with Wentz, Purdy as the 2 guys that I would probably start ahead of CJ Stroud. Vidal or Stevenson, I think we kind of answered that earlier with that one big question. I have Kamani Vidal and Stevenson back to back. But now that I know Hassan Haskins is like out, I might move Vidal up a notch. I think both these guys are the volume earners on their offense. I'm going to slightly lean Kamani Vidal right now, but it's truly a coin flip. If you have a good vibe, like if you think Stevenson's going to get the goal line touchdown against the Browns, that's fine. But give me Kamani Vidal, who's going to catch 2, 3 passes. He's going to get, 10 carries, something like that. I do expect the Chargers offense to look better this weekend than they did in week 7. So I'm going to lean Kamani Vidal here. I'll probably move him up in my rankings tomorrow. My rankings say Tajay Spears, just because I think I'm more comfortable with his 5 to 8 carries and his 2 to 3 catches. Whereas Harvey, we still don't know what we're going to get every week in terms of playing. It's really frustrating what they're doing. Sean Payton, it's always Sean Payton that grinds my gears. But he is insistent on playing Tyler Beatty, whatever he calls him. Just if we were able to remove Beatty and get these snaps, routes, targets all divided back to Dobbins and Harvey, we might be able to use RJ Harvey. But at this point, you're banking on a touchdown for him to get 8.2 points, whereas Tajay Spears can get you that 8.2 points without a touchdown. So I'm going to lean Tajay Spears as a little bit safer spot for you. I'm going to go ahead and just pull up my my start sit charts for the week and make sure everything's looking good over there for you guys. We'll do a little preview of tomorrow night's game here. Let me just do a little zoom. Vikings Chargers. I think we might be in for a good one tomorrow night. And let me just double check real quick. I want to see what the over under is looking like in this game. So they got 44.5 points in this game, which is that's fine. That's average. That's going to be, I don't know, 24-21, something like that. I think this could be a nice, fun game. So obviously with the Chargers, you're starting Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, and Quentin Johnston this week for sure. And then Gadsden. I think you're starting all 4 of those guys. I really shouldn't get too many questions on those 4 players. I understand the questions on Vidal because he's kind of on the fringe there being a running back too. But for the most part, I'm starting all my Chargers this week. On the Vikings side, keep starting Jordan Mason, Jefferson. I think Addison's safe with the way Carson Wentz has been playing. You actually, if you have Addison, you want Wentz to keep playing because we just don't know what it's going to look like with J.J. McCarthy. And then Hawkinson as well. Wentz keeps him afloat. I don't know if I want to play the defenses tomorrow night. Herbert, he's been kind of unlucky with interceptions lately, so I could see him playing better tomorrow night. I'm not playing Aaron Jones. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Chargers just because this is a short week. It's in LA. It's a tough place to go and travel to for the Vikings. And hey, Double Tap, good evening, my man. I appreciate it. The trip was awesome. The trip was so good. And now I'm just like going to work these last few days, and it's just like, this is life. Like there's so much more to life than sitting at a desk for 8 hours, but it's what we do. It's what we do, and we're going to get through it together. So Jordan Mason, Rico Suave, or Matthew Golden this week, full PPR. I am leaning towards Jordan Mason still being the guy tomorrow night. Even if Aaron Jones plays, I don't see Aaron Jones getting a ton of volume. And we've seen a couple games with the Vikings where they're going to give Xavier Scott some run, whether Scott gets 2 to 5 carries, gets a target or 2 or 3. That could be Aaron Jones's workload. And I think it's very clear that they're going to just keep Jordan Mason as the lead back role. And at this point, Aaron Jones is only going to be – he's just going to be that passing down, change of pace back. I'm thinking of Xavier Scott when we saw them in Ireland or wherever it was. We're going to see something like that for Aaron Jones. And we don't even know if he's going to play. If Aaron Jones does not play tomorrow night, I think Jordan Mason is your man. And even if Aaron Jones does play, I still think Jordan Mason is pretty safe. But we were just looking at those Buffalo Bills numbers. And Buffalo, pretty bad against the running back. They're allowing like 115 yards per game to running backs, 8 touchdowns. That's over 1 per game. This is Rico still got almost 10 fantasy points last week. And now he gets a pretty nice matchup here. So I think Rico excites me the most. I still like Golden, but we don't really love his range of outcomes yet. He still hasn't had that big game. He's somewhere in that 8 to 10 points, which I get it. That's kind of what these guys are in. But I think I'm going to lean Rico Dowdle here, unless you're feeling the vibes on Jordan Mason. I'm starting Jordan Mason in the leagues that I have him, hoping for that touchdown against the Chargers tomorrow night. But I think Rico Dowdle is your best matchup. We love Keenan Allen this week, man. And I've kind of always been very, very high on Keenan Allen with pretty much all my weekly rankings and my rest of season stuff. I've been higher on him than consensus. If we look at my weekly rankings this week, I got him wide receiver 11. If I had to start just one Charger tomorrow night, like why isn't it Keenan Allen? He's the guy that's catching all the passes, getting all the targets, catching the touchdowns. I think he's up to 4 or 5 touchdowns on the year. So I don't like Keenan Allen this week. I love Keenan Allen every week against the Vikings. We could take a peek here. Let's take a peek here. I do like to, if you guys haven't used FF Today, I do like their website quite a bit. If you go to the stats tab and you can go on down to the fantasy points allowed, click on receivers. Let's just take a look here at the Vikings. You can click on the Vikings and then you can see what individual receivers have done against them. Go ahead and filter by points. Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, huge games last week. DK Metcalf had a big game. Romo Dunze caught a touchdown. Jamar Chase, that was a Jake Browning game where they got destroyed. DJ Moore, Zacchaeus, Drake London, they kind of held in check, but the Vikings did lose that game pretty badly with a bad J.J. McCarthy game. But it does look like you can get some really big points against this Vikings team just recently last week. So I'm definitely in on Keenan Allen and all the other guys too. I think they're all a great option this week. Ooh. What can we get for Aaron Jones and George Pickens? Okay, so George Pickens right now, he's got more fantasy points than I think people value him for. Like, he's the wide receiver 5 on the year. CeeDee Lamb was missing for some of these games. So I think his value is more in line with, like a Cortland Sutton type. I think that's kind of where he's probably better, like a rest of season ranking. But because you're tossing in Aaron Jones, you might be able to just, go get Emeka Egbuka. You could try Keenan Allen, who's going to be more consistent on a weekly basis. You could try Devontae Adams, who we like quite a bit. I mean, I think you could realistically shoot your shot at Amon-Ra. You're probably not going to get Puka, Chase, or Najigba. But if your opponent needs a running back, they might be interested here. I think you can upgrade George Pickens. The floor would be like a Cortland Sutton, a Drake London, probably not a Quentin Johnson for me, but I think that Keenan Allen, Egbuka, Devontae Adams, that's kind of the sweet spot here. I'm looking to upgrade George Pickens. If you're trying to upgrade a running back here, Harris, it's kind of like the question that we looked at last night. I think it's going to be pretty much anyone you want outside of these top 4 running backs. Jacobs, Javonte, probably not Achane for me, but James Cook's on the table. Any of these top-ranked running backs that are outside the top 4. I mean, I think you can get Devonta Smith pretty easily. I mean, George Pickens for Devonta Smith, to me, let me pull up my let me just take a peek here at my rest of season rankings. I got Pickens at 16, and I'm a little bit lower on Devonta Smith. I got him down here at wide receiver 29. To me, he's still a little boom bust, but he's starting to turn the corner and be more trusted as a go-to receiver. So I might be too low on Devonta Smith here. I might actually put him, closer to this Michael Thomas or Michael Pittman, Brian Thomas, Chris Olave tier. So, I mean, you could probably just trade George Pickens straight up for Devonta Smith, perhaps. But if you need to, the running back, Devon Achane. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and ask. Again, he was kind of one of those guys that was just outside the top 4. A lot of people are nervous about the Dolphins. If you can go get Devon Achane, I think go ahead and do it. It's worth asking your the other owner. So see what you can do. But I would prefer George Pickens over Devonta Smith if that came to it. But let's get back to these start-sit charts. We'll hang out for a few more minutes, guys. If you guys have any more questions, please let me know. Dolphins-Falcons, I'm not excited about this game. You're starting Achane, but no other Dolphin should really be in your lineup. Maybe Jalen Waddle just because of the nature of the bye weeks. But then start your Falcons. It's a huge Bijan game. I think I might move Tyler Algier up to a running back 3 flex. I think this game might get out of hand. And again, just the bye weeks, maybe you got to play Tyler Algier this week. I don't think it's a terrible matchup. Still can use Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and maybe think about Darnell Mooney. But the Falcons should be able to roll in this one. Jets Bengals, man. You're starting Breece Hall if you have him. I don't think Garrett Wilson's going to play. It's literally only Breece Hall on the Jet side. And I think the Bengals, man, you're starting all of these guys here. Chase Brown is back. Chase Higgins for sure. Keep an eye on Noah Fant. If you need a tight end this week, Noah Fant, with Mike Gesicki out of the way, he's been getting 4 to 5 targets per game. I think Noah Fant's kind of a sleeper here. And then I got to start Joe Flacco in one league, in my Jaden Daniels league. So we'll see if Flacco can hook me up. I don't love this. I think I'd rather have George Pickens than Stephon Diggs straight up. And then, Rachaad White, Aaron Jones. Rachaad White's value is going to plummet here with Bucky Irving coming back after the bye. Aaron Jones still has a receiving. They're going to have a similar outlook the rest of the season. But I think, to me, George Pickens, trading for a 30-some-plus-year-old receiver here who just tore his knee last year, I don't feel great about it. I think if I have Diggs, I'm fine with it. I'm probably trying to move off of Diggs if I can while the Patriots are hot. So I'm going to stick with George Pickens in that question. I think it's Pacheco pretty easily, man. The usage is looking pretty good. We did see Kareem Hunt get banged up the other day. They're going to be playing the Washington Commanders here, who are average against opponent running backs. And Pacheco, if you just watch the Chiefs game, he looks good. They're just going to split the ball up a lot and get, different touches for Hunt and for Brashard Smith. But I expect the Chiefs to win this game, play from ahead. Maybe we see Pacheco get up to 12 or 15 carries again. I think I'm going Isaiah Pacheco here. And it's Lamar's first game back. I would expect the Ravens to win this game, control it against the Bears. That might take Monunga out of the game plan as much as he was involved last week. I think I'm going Pacheco here. And this one's not close. It's Stevenson, Rachaad White. We got Bucky Irving coming back week 9. Rachaad White. This might be the last startable week here for Rachaad White. Week 9, bye week, week 10. Who knows what's going to happen? So it's Stevenson pretty easily for me there, Harris. Browns Patriots. You can start your Quinshon Judkins, who we feel pretty good about. You're going to start these guys here on the right. If you need Hunter Henry, that's fine. Probably one of the ugliest games of week number 8 here. Patriots Browns. Go ahead and start that Patriots defense if you got them. I'm looking forward to this one. The Giants and the Eagles, man. That was a fun Thursday night football game that the Giants capitalized on. This one's in Philly this time. We know we're starting all the Eagles on that side. But as far as the Giants, I might have to move Jackson Dart up into the QB1 territory. You're starting Scattaboo. You're starting Wan'Dale Robinson's a starting fantasy receiver right now. He looks awesome. So play him. And then Theo Johnson, man, if you missed on a Rondé Gadsden or whoever it was this week at tight end, I think Theo Johnson has earned himself a start. And he might be a guy, especially in dynasty leagues, he was available in 1 or 2 of my dynasty leagues. So he's definitely someone that's entering our circle of trust. And then I like Tyrone Tracy on my bench if he's out there on your waiver wire. Pats D or Bucks D. I think I'm going to go with New England Patriots here. Tampa Bay is on the road in New Orleans. To be honest, they didn't really look that good. I know it was the Lions. They didn't look all that good in that game, and they're just kind of banged up everywhere. I still think Spencer Rattler, Olave, Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, there's still a lot of playmakers on the Saints offense. And again, it's in New Orleans. Whereas the Patriots, they just got to stop Quinshon Judkins, and they might not be able to do that. But I don't have a lot of trust in Dylan Gabriel in that receiving game. This one's in New England. Patriots are riding really high right now. I think it's the Patriots pretty easily for me there, Andrew. Bills Panthers. Bills fresh off a bye week. Yeah, you're starting Allen and James Cook. You can throw Khalil Shakir out there. I think Dalton Kincaid's a tight end one option if you need it. But I'm kind of excited about the Panthers, man. I think Andy Dalton, Bryce Young had been playing pretty well, and we know what we can get with Andy Dalton. It's not going to be great, but he's going to help keep other players afloat for fantasy. So Rico, yes. Chuba Hubbard, maybe as a RB3 flex. Again, the bye weeks, you might need to put Chuba out there. But go ahead and play Ted McMillan. And then I don't know what to do with Xavier Legette, but he's going to be a popular waiver wire pickup this week. If you want to whip him out there, this is the week to do it with all the bye weeks. See what happens, but just got to know we're playing with fire here. No defenses in this one for me. And then I want to see more Jalen Coker, but that's just me. Bears, Ravens, yeah, you're starting Lamar, Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews if you need a tight end. And then on the Bears side, DeAndre Swift is the only must-start player on this team. I think Rome Odunze, DJ Moore. DJ Moore's hurt right now. We'll see if he even plays in this game. I think Rome Odunze is in your starting lineup this week, but even if DJ Moore's out there and healthy, I don't know if he's a must-start player. And Caleb Williams is just a super flex QB2 option. If Cole Kmet misses, though, like you could maybe look at Loveland as a tight end option this week. Okay. Pickens and London with Kamara and Rummers as my flex with Henry as tight end. That sounds good, sports dog. I think Lamar Jackson's fresh and ready to go. Drake May, as good as he's been, Browns are a good defense, man. They're just not going to really have to put their foot on the gas in this one, I think. Whereas Lamar, it's a great matchup against the Bears. Ravens got their back. Like, they're 1-5. Like, the Ravens need to win this game. I agree with Lamar Jackson over Drake May. Pickens and London with Kamara and Stevenson as my flex with Henry as my tight end. All right, I like it. This one is pretty easy. I'm going to go Devin Neal here. He's the new next man up for the New Orleans Saints. RB2. They don't really have anybody else besides him, and they drafted him. So this coaching staff was interested in him. We'll see what he can do. It's going to require a Kamara injury. I don't think Kamara gets traded. It's going to require a Kamara injury for Devin Neal to get, starting fantasy consideration. And with Kareem Hunt, man, it's just we're talking about an old running back on a team that wants to throw the ball a ton. Sure, he could fall into the end zone on a given week here, but he's not getting the high value touches otherwise. So for me, it's Devin Neal. And then in this one, it's Brashard Smith, and it's not close. Brashard Smith is one of the favorite pickups that you can get right now. Brashard Smith looks great. Texans are concerning. 49ers are concerning. You're starting McCaffrey. You can start Kittle. I know he got a 0 last week, but you're going to start George Kittle. I think Juwan Jennings, I have him as a wide receiver too, so I must really like him. And then Purdy, just a QB2 option in Superflex leagues. I want to start that 49ers defense because if Nico doesn't play, no Christian Kirk, this offensive line's bad. CJ Stroud looked bad. I want to play the 49ers D in this one. You can play Woody Marks. You can play Dalton Schultz. Otherwise, I'm probably staying away from the Texans in this one. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. You can play Rachaad White, play Buka. Tez Johnson's a flex. You can start the Bucks D. They are a top 10 defense this week, and I still think Baker Mayfield's fine as a low-end QB1. To me, he's more of a QB2 for Superflex this week. And then the Saints, we kind of know what it is. It's Rattler and Superflex. It's Kamara as a low-end RB2. You're playing Olave if you have him. Rashid's probably in a lot of lineups this week, just with the bye weeks, and then say no to that defense. I actually think Juwan Johnson could be a tight end if you need some help there. He had good usage last week, finally. Cowboys, Broncos, start everybody in this game that you can. Cowboys defense is bad. Broncos defense is, you can beat them. You can beat them. We saw that last week. You can run. You can do some deep shots with guys like Wan'Dale Robinson. So you're starting your Cowboys. Dak, Javonte, CD, Pickens, Ferguson. Those guys that's kind of no discussion. Get those guys in your lineups. On the Broncos side, yeah, you want to get everybody on this. Bo Nix, Dobbins, Sutton, Franklin, Ingram, maybe Marvin Mims even in a deeper league where you just need a big, 40, 50-yard play, a touchdown. Marvin Mims can be that guy for you. And RJ Harvey is just like an emergency guy. Like he's in my 30s for RB rankings this week, but I'm trying to find a way to get a Bronco in my lineup this week if I can. I'm going with Dalton Schultz. Assuming no Nico Collins, I'm going to pass on TJ Hawkinson tomorrow night. Sure, he could have a nice game, but I think the juice could be sweet for Dalton Schultz if no Nico Collins. Zach Ertz with Marcus Mariota. Maybe Zach Ertz is the play if no Terry and no Debo. So I'm going to probably pass on TJ Hawkinson tomorrow night, who did look good last week, but I think Schultz is your best play. Even if Nico Collins does play, I think Schultz is your best play. Titans, Colts. Don't start Titans only unless you have to. It's Pollard and Spears and nobody else. The Colts, yeah, you're starting DJ, you're starting JT, Pittman. Consider Alec Pierce, who continues to make big plays. He did have 10 fantasy points against his team last time they played. Tyler Warren's a start, and then the Colts are the start of the week at defense. And then Packers at Steelers. I know my guy Andrew will be at this game going to Pittsburgh, so excited for you there. This is going to be a fun game. I think this could be a more high-scoring game than we usually see for a Steelers game. Rodgers is a QB2 for Superflex leagues. You're starting Jalen Warren and DK Metcalf. You can consider the tight ends. I don't love the tight ends in this one, but if I had to choose one, it would be Jonnu. For the Packers, Jordan Love's a high-end QB2 for Superflex. You're starting Jacobs. I think Romeo Doubs has earned our trust as a wide receiver 3 flex. And then Golden's more of like a flex decision, but I want to try and get him in my lineup this week. Same with Tucker Kraft. We know he's in our lineup. Packers D is startable just because I think they're going to be able to get pressure on Rodgers and maybe force some sacks and a turnover or two. So I think the Packers have the edge here. We'll see if the Steelers and Rodgers can pull off the heist. And then last but not least, Commanders at Chiefs. No Jaden Daniels in this one. I think the entire Commanders offense is suspect. I don't feel good starting any of these guys. We have to watch the health of Terry and Debo. I don't really have a lot of faith in Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt this week. Maybe Zach Ertz at tight end, maybe. But your Chiefs side, yeah, like Mahomes, Pacheco, Rice, Worthy, Kelsey. I even think Rashard Smith could be, just with the bye weeks, he could be a low-end RB2 this week if he catches 4 or 5 passes and makes some big plays in the running game. So I want to be on the Chiefs side of things, not really into the Commanders this week, but we have a lot of practice reports to watch there. So there you have it, guys. We're done. Week 8. I'm excited. Tomorrow night, I'm a huge Charger fan. You guys probably know this by now, but I'm pretty excited about tomorrow night's game with the Vikings. One, as the Packer fan, yeah, we want to see the Vikings lose, but I also want my Chargers to get their fantasy points. So we'll go live tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you guys on the live stream here. Again, if you guys ever have any questions, you guys can reach out on Twitter, X, @thefellowKGB. Check out thefantasyfellowship.com. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening. There's NBA basketball on now, if you care. I'll probably go check out the Milwaukee Bucks. But either way, enjoy the night. Thank you for your time. We'll see you tomorrow night, guys. Peace.